Hi, how are ya? How you guys doing? I've been gone. Where have I been? Surviving. I've had a lot of ups and downs in the last few months with my mental health. So, I haven't been posting, but I'm trying to get back into doing things that I lost motivation for. So, I thought, why not start here? Obviously, let's address the elephant in the room. I dyed my hair. It's the first time I've dyed my hair fully since I was in high school when I dyed it dark brown. I've only had it a couple months, but I absolutely fucking love it. So there's that. I also got a new tattoo, which I don't think will show up very well on camera, but it's there. It's the Rocky Horror Picture Show logo, my favorite movie. So yeah. If you guys don't know, my name is Emily, and I like to talk about music and pop culture things in general. And today I want to talk about concerts. I love going to concerts. It's such an experience, and it's always so fun for me. I have been to 28 concerts at this point in my life. So it's been very, very fun to go to them all. I just got back from 2, and I'm currently going through the post-concert blues. And so I thought, what better way to try and combat it than with giving you guys a list of all the concerts I've been to and ranking them from my favorite to the least memorable one that I have. In no way am I saying that any of my concerts have been bad. They've all been great. They've all been fun. They've all sounded good. It's not anything related to that. It's just personal feelings on them, I guess. I'll preference this by saying this is each individual concert. So a lot of these artists I have seen multiple times. And for that, I will not apologize. So I'll give you the year that I saw them, as well as like what time it is that I've seen them, like how many times I'd seen them prior to, or what concert number it is for that band for me is. So, yes. And hopefully my baby boy, who is on my lap here, will cooperate with me throughout this video because he's been running around wild for the last hour. It's been driving me nuts. So, let's talk about my concert list. A topic you might care about, but probably not. Starting off the list strong, we're going with my number 1 favorite that I've been to, is Rammstein in 2023. I went to Europe with my aunt, and we saw them in Denmark. This marks the second time I've seen Rammstein. And I have to say, I love every time I go to Rammstein. Their show is spectacular. It's unlike any other one that I've been to. There's so much effort that's put into it to make it such a good show that I just love every second of it. It's hot, figuratively and literally. Especially when you find the 60-year-old German men, I guess it's more of an average of 60-year-old German men attractive, as I do. But it was an amazing time. The show was phenomenal. As always, they sounded amazing. This one beats the other one just because of how much energy there was in the crowd and general admission. We were by some really cool people. At one point, my aunt went to the bathroom and kind of left me there, and I was kind of adopted by this group of other people that were by me before she came back, and then she also got inducted into it, and they were just so cool. One of the women was from Poland originally. There were a couple people from Denmark, one of whom knew of where I live in the States, and then the other one was from England, and it was just so awesome. It was such an awesome time, and I think about that one a lot when I'm bored. I actually have a photo book that I made of it, so it was amazing. Yeah. Number 2 is also Rammstein. This would be the first time that I saw Rammstein. I saw them in 2022 in Minnesota. We were in the absolute nosebleeds, and my aunt and I still rocked out to our heart's content as we did in Denmark when we were in the general admission. Though, in the nosebleeds, even though we weren't blocking anybody, we got a lot of, like, weird glances from the people around us. Which, like, I get. You might think it's weird that we're rocking out so hard, but you don't know how much we love this band. I was a broke, fresh out of college student when I bought the tickets, so nosebleeds was the best I could get, but we were going hard up there, and it was amazing. I was literally so excited when the show started that I cried. So there is that. But yeah, it was amazing. And so that brings us to number 3. We are sticking with a Rammstein theme here. I promise it's the last one. I saw Till Lindemann in 2024 in Minnesota. He had Aesthetic Perfection and Twin Temple as his openers, both of whom I am very, very fond of. I like them both a lot. I'm a huge Twin Temple fan at this point. But when it comes to the openers, I loved both of them. They both sounded amazing. They both were very fun, very energetic. I actually got pointed at and, like, made eye contact with Daniel Graves of Aesthetic Perfection multiple times, but specifically during the song Summer Goth, because that is one I actually did know. We had a moment. It was very, very cool. And then Alexandra, the singer from Twin Temple, pointed at me during Be a Slut. The people around me were jealous at that point because Twin Temple was the second opener. And I'd already gotten noticed by both. Which was awesome. But when it comes to the actual part of Till Lindemann, he sounded amazing. The show was fun. He had fun doing the show. It's really easy to tell when an artist is actually enjoying themselves. I got to touch Till twice. I got to touch his hand that says Bitte, and then I got to touch his arm. Because I was, like, one away from the barrier at the stage. So I was very, very close. I got to catch a fish, a dead fish. But the fish was wrapped in a towel, because in the metal bowl, there's a red towel that's in there first, and then the fish go on top. And he wraps the towel around the last fish and then throws it. And it, like, right to me. Like, it was, like, destiny that I caught this. So instead of taking home a dead fish, I gave it to a guy who was around me who could get it taxidermied in a reasonable amount of time. Because I don't live there. It was going to be like a 6-hour drive with a dead fish. I'm not doing it. I took home the fish towel. And I washed it as soon as I got home. Because my dress reeked of fish. The towel reeked of fish. I reeked of fish by the time I left that concert. And I have no regrets on that. I had to bag my clothing in that towel multiple times before I put it in my suitcase to, I'm going to block my cat going potty there, to go home. So, needless to say, amazing. It was an amazing time. I also caught and subsequently dropped a tampon from Jolette's. That's loud. Sorry. But yeah, I caught a tampon. I put it in my dress here, hoping it'd stay. It did not stay secured. And it fell out of my dress at some point, and I lost it. And I was really sad. But I had the fish towel, so I didn't feel so bad. I also got a little bit of cake on my arm, and I got doused with what? It was amazing. It was an amazing, amazing time. Moving on, we have Ghost. I just saw Ghost within the last week of recording this video, and they were amazing. There was no phones, so I have no photos or videos to prove that, but they were amazing. I had a wonderful time. I really, really enjoyed it. You really didn't miss your phone when you're doing it. I mean, I like to take pictures and little videos and stuff when I'm at concerts, but I try not to do it too awful much. And not having to worry about that was nice. But it was a wonderful, wonderful time. They really put on a hell of a show. And They sounded amazing as well. I'll say it now. All of the artists have sounded amazing live. But it was just very fun. You weren't even just focused on Papa Emeritus V. You noticed all of the nameless ghouls in the band. Specifically, I kept glancing over at the one backup singer, who was just go-go dancing the hell out of it, and I loved every second of watching it. It was awesome, needless to say. So yeah. And coming in at number 5 is the Funeral Portrait, and we're talking about, technically, it's the second time I'd seen them live. Their openers were just local bands that were pretty good, and then we saw Not Enough Space, and they were okay. I'm not huge on the screaming metal, but they were still phenomenal. Like, they did a phenomenal job. But the Funeral Portrait in 2024, I had an amazing time. Again, I was by really cool people. I was really close to the stage. I got to hold Lee's hand during Alien. And it was fucking amazing. I also got to meet Lee, Caleb, and Rob after the show, and I have photos of that. But it was super, super cool. I loved every second of it, as I always do when it comes to concerts. And I had a phenomenal time. It was a lot of fun. It was just such an energetic night and fun and just awesome. And it was a great way to end my year with concerts last year. Continuing on, we have Weird Al Yankovic. That's right, baby. We're talking 2025. Just saw him in this last week. It's the second time I've seen Al live. He's always phenomenal live. He always puts on a hell of a show. I love that in between costume changes, he has little clips of videos playing related to him, which is really cool. I love that. We had VIP this time around, so I did get to do a meet and greet, and so I got to meet Al, get an autograph, and I got a photo with him. And he was so cool, super sweet. Obviously, you could tell he was tired because it was after the show, but he still was smiling and kind and gracious and just super cool. But yeah. Opening for him was Puddles' Pity Party, and I actually really fucked with Puddles. My family not necessarily liked him, but I did. I thought it was really fun. I love that lounge style singing to songs, and it was just a lot of fun. Especially his bit with Kevin Costner. I get it. I just want to say, Puddles, I get it. Maybe not Kevin Costner for me, but I get where you're coming from with it. It was great. Next up is AC/DC. I saw them this year in April. I have loved AC/DC since I was a kid, and AC/DC is one of my dad's favorite bands, so we both went to that one. Opening for them was The Pretty Reckless. They were awesome. But AC/DC was just such an experience for me and my dad. They weren't showy. They didn't have like this flashy show or anything like that. But they didn't need it. It was just pure rock and roll. And you could see that Angus and Brian loved every second they were on that stage and what they were doing. And I wish I had their energy some days, because I don't. It was such a phenomenal time. I do wish they had played Money Talks. That made me sad that they didn't. But overall, it was great. Like I said, it wasn't a flashy show, but it was fun. And I really enjoyed it. So yeah. Next up is Palais Royale. This will be the technically third time that I'd seen them. No. Thank you. He sits by the door and meows because he wants out, but he doesn't get out because he's not allowed out. Quit. You're fine. What? Come here then. But Palais Royale 2025. This is technically the third time I saw them. The first time was as an opener. The same goes for the Funeral Portrait. So, you know. But they played a lot of awesome shows. The person who was by me, she was awesome. She chatted me up the whole time. And at multiple times leaned over, she's like, oh, you're a real fan. Like, you know all these songs. This is awesome. I'm like, thank you. You know, the point of going to concerts is to have fun and enjoy the live music. And that's what I try to do. And so it was really cool to be, you know, noticed for doing that. It was a lot of fun. They sounded amazing. It was great. It was so cold outside. I had literal blankets with me that I hung on a railing in front of me. But it was amazingly fun. It was an awesome time. And that's all that matters, is that I had a great time. And I did get to touch Remington's leg. This will be the second time I've touched Remington's leg. But we'll get to that when we get to the other one on here. Next up is Hollywood Undead. With them was Tech Nine. I'm not a Tech Nine fan per se. And the concert didn't make me a Tech Nine fan by any means. But I have respect for him and what he does. And it's awesome. It started off rough because during the Tech Nine set, during that time, me and my brother went to it and we were in the general admission and we had garbage thrown at us from behind us that hit us both at some point in the head, and we were very unhappy, so we left that area and went into seating because we were just so annoyed at that point. But Hollywood Undead really made up for it when they came out. They sounded great. They did a lot of their hits. I've never seen my brother have so much fun than at that concert. And that was really cool. Because it's really, you can really vibe to concerts, but it's better when you have somebody to feed energy off of. And so that was what was really fun. I left a fan, even though I was not overly huge on Hollywood Undead before I went. I left a fairly big fan because of how much fun I had at that concert and how great they sounded. Next up is Neon Trees. I saw them in 2023. Also, I saw Hollywood Undead in 2023. I don't know if I said that, but I'm going to say it again now. I have loved Neon Trees since I was a kid. So getting to see them live was like a huge thing for me. I was very, very excited. They sounded amazing. It was fun. They played a lot of their classics. I wish they had done First Things First because that's one of my favorites, and they didn't, and I understand why they didn't. It's not their hits. I get it, but I was sad. But I had a really, really fun time. I did get complimented on my outfit that night. I had a guy look me up and down and go, "You're giving like teenage Sabrina the Teenage Witch vibes," and I love it. And I have been writing on that compliment ever since. But yeah, it's really cool. Like I said, I love Neon Trees. They don't have like a flashy stage show or anything like that, but it's really fun. Again, I was in general admission, and it was the energy that was there. Opening for them was, I think, Silent Rival, and I didn't necessarily care for them so much. The singer was really overpowered by the instruments. The mix wasn't great, and it was just very awkward. It felt like there was like no chemistry between the band members on stage or anything like that. And then Laundry Day, and I actually really liked Laundry Day. I still listen to their song Jane fairly often. They're great, but yeah. Moving on, we have Avatar, and in this moment, I went for Avatar. That was in 2024. I am a fan of Avatar, and seeing them live was something I thought was really cool. They blew me away. I had the time of my life. I mean, I wasn't expecting the singer to come out and play trombone and make balloon animals. I wasn't expecting to have as much fun at that as I did, and it is why I'm going to see them in November, and I'm doing a meet and greet with them in November because they were awesome. Opening for them was TX2. I have major respect for them for what they're doing. It's not for me, but good on them. They put on a show. They did their job. It was fine. They're just not for me personally. In this moment was good. I won't say that they were bad. But there was not a lot of movement going on from the lead singer, which is fine. But it felt like a lot of the show was costume changing. And it was just a lot of kind of sitting there, waiting. And that's not necessarily as fun. But either way, it was a great show. I had fun. I did buy a whore hat, obviously. And I have a signed vinyl from Avatar, which you can't see in the video, but it's over here. It's on my wall. The whore hat is in my bedroom. So, but yeah, it was fun. I didn't have anything against either artist. I do like quite a few of In This Moment songs, so it was cool to see him live. But yeah, gotta turn a page, and we're on to my first concert ever, which was Weird Al Yankovic in 2015. So yes, 10 years apart, I got to see Weird Al. There was no opener for this show, and it was just phenomenal. Again, it's the costume changes, it's the fun of it all, it's just the amazingness of it. I got complimented on my lyrical knowledge of Weird Al, which was really cool. Especially when you're 13 and you're at your favorite artist show and you're getting complimented like, I don't even know this song, and this came out way before you were born. Super cool. There's also a guy who was really, really tall who stood right in front of us, who was there with a sibling, I think. So he wasn't even really there for Al, he was just there as a chaperone, and it was kind of annoying because he was really blocking the view for a while. But it was still a lot of fun, and I still had a great time. So that's all that matters, and it didn't deter me from going to see Al again, obviously. I love Weird Al Yankovic, so naturally. Next up is Pretty Reckless and Plush. It was this year, 2025. They sounded awesome. They were very fun. I'm a big Plush. Me and my brother are both Plush fans, and we're also Pretty Reckless fans, so it was really cool to see them both. We actually traveled quite a distance to see them. But it was a lot of fun to watch them. It was really cool. We were right up at the barrier, and I got pointed at and like almost touched hands with Taylor Momsen, which was really cool. But yeah, it was a lot of fun vibing, and again, it's just the whole energy thing where you just really vibe with things, and when I like being when I'm in the front and I can know that an artist can look at me and see how much fun I'm having and know that they're doing a great job and that they're appreciated and they're enjoyed. It's a personal thing. I don't know. But yeah. Next up is the funeral portion this time. Marilyn Manson and Five Finger Death Punch. I went for Manson. Plain and simple. Opening for them was Slaughter to Prevail and The Funeral Portrait. This is how I heard of The Funeral Portrait for the first time. They were amazing. I started listening to them before the show, and I fucking love them. I'm not huge on Slaughter to Prevail. It's just not my vibe. Again, none of these are bad. It's just not my vibe personally. So no hate to them, no anything to them. It's just not for me. But Manson has been a favorite of mine since I was like 15. So this marks the second time I'd seen Marilyn Manson. And I gotta say, he's clean, he's sober, he's fucking nailing it out there. This was in 2024, by the way. He was amazing in all sense of it all. He sounded amazing. He was amazing on stage with energy. It was great. Five Finger Death Punch was good too. Like, I'm not a huge fan of theirs. But they were still really good. They put on a show. It was great, you know. I do love Wrong Side of Heaven and Jekyll and Hyde. So, I mean, it was really cool to see them live and jam to those live, but still, I did get asked out by a random dude who came over to me. I'd never met this man. I am single, but I just got weird vibe because like I'd never seen him before, and the first thing he does is ask me out when he talks to me. I don't like that. So I did turn him down, but he was very respectful about it and everything. But that is also something I remember from that show was I got asked out. Just odd. But yeah. So next up is The Funeral Portrait 2025. They were awesome. We borrowed my sunglasses. They were heart-shaped for a little bit, which was super cool. I got a free picture of Rob as a teenager, which is really fun. Really random thing to get. I don't even know where it went. I know I have it somewhere, but I don't know where I put it. But yeah, that was weird. That was fun. However, I did, their openers were, Versus Me and If Not For Me. Both were awesome. I do actually listen to them fairly often at this point because I think they sound really cool. I really enjoyed their music as well. But the downside is I did get COVID from this concert. It marks the first time I got it, and I work in healthcare, so that surprised me that I got it from a concert and not from like work. But yeah, I did get COVID, and I did have to suffer through that. It wasn't too bad. Mainly, would get bad headaches, and I was coughing a lot, and and I was also just exhausted at one point when I was just getting out of quarantine. I went and got my mail, and by the time I got back up the stairs, I was like winded as hell and exhausted and just ready to sleep. So it took a while to bounce back, but I'm surviving. But yeah, super fun, super cool. Again, Funeral Portrait is great, so that's all that matters to me. Next up is I went to the Freaks on Parade tour with Rob Zombie and Alice Cooper. My dad's a big Alice Cooper fan, so that's why we went. Cooper puts on they both put on such different shows, but they're both really good shows. This is the second time I'd seen Rob Zombie. But Alice's is almost like a stage opera. It's really cool and includes like a guillotine and a beheading and really fun. And Rob Zombie is just so energetic on stage, and it's really fun and really cool. Their openers were Filter and Ministry. Not for me. They were okay. Just not for me personally. That's all. That's it. That's all I have to say on it. They're just not for me personally. They weren't bad, but next up we have Palais Royale 2024. This would be the second time I'd seen them. The first time I'd seen them as the main act. They had no opener for this show. I think it's their Dead to Me tour, so it was very last minute for the US. It was a shorter set. It could have been a little bit better. However, I was by some really cool people again, and I did get to touch Remington's leg, so I was right by a bar, and he went and jumped on the bar, and I actually touched his leg. Low enough that I wasn't going to catch a charge, but just enough, as if that makes it better. But it was below the knee. So, yeah. But it was really fun, really cool. They put on a really great show anyway, but the piano stool had broke, so Remington sat on Sebastian's back to play for a few minutes, for a little bit, and that was funny as hell. And I did get a picture with Emerson after the show, because the people I was by were like, hey, we heard they're going to be around back, do you want to come with us? And I was like, hell yeah, I gotta wait anyway, because I wasn't driving at that one. But yeah, it was super cool, super fun. I need to get a pic with Emerson, which is really cool. Kiss, I saw them in 2019. They were really good. They put on a really good show. They did say the wrong city name, which I get how that happens, but I'm still like, oh, I'm just kidding. It was fine. It was just a funny slip up. And their opener was like a painter dude. And like, it was a neat thing, but like, not really music, Like, it was cool that he could paint that fast, and they looked cool, but that's not, what I was there for. I don't know. But yeah, they were great. They put on a really good show, everything, but they played a lot of deeper cuts, which surprised me. Which, did I mention that when I saw Al the second time, he did deeper cuts, like One More Minute and Skipper Dan, which are two of my favorites? I think I forgot that. Anyway, we're moving on. Next up is Avenged Sevenfold. I saw them in 2024. The opener was Vended, and they were with Poppy. I'm not huge on Vended. Again, it's that screaming thing that I don't necessarily care for in my metal music, but again, nothing against them. They sounded fine. It's just not for me. And then Poppy, I really like Poppy. I know she does some of the screaming, but it's to a point where it's not entirely that I really like. But yeah, they were really, really good. I loved their setup for it and the videos that were playing. It was really good. They sounded great. However, they did not do Little Piece of Heaven, nor did they do So Far Away, which were the two I was really wanting. So I was a bit saddened, because that's what I wanted to hear. They were great, though. I do like Avenged Sevenfold a lot, and I do like Poppy a lot. But yeah. Next up is Imagine Dragons. I know, what a weird shift here. I saw them in 2018. It was a birthday gift. They were really, really good. Their opener was Grace VanderWaal, who I still listen to occasionally. But it was very good. They were both really good, very energetic. I don't have a lot of memory of the concert itself for whatever reason. I just know that he was shirtless, and I made a joke to my friend who was there with me that if he came into the crowd, I kind of wanted to just touch it. Obviously, I would never actually do that. That is 100% a joke. Don't touch people without consent, normally. Don't do that. Especially in that area, don't do that. But I do remember after the show, on our way home, my dad, who was driving us, got pulled over. He didn't get anything about it. I think he just got a warning because he sped up a little too soon before a change in speed sign. But yeah, I do remember that. Next up is Disturbed. I saw them in 2024. Their openers were Plush and Falling in Reverse. I don't have a lot of feelings on Falling in Reverse. They're okay. I like their song Bad Girls Club a lot. God is a Weapon is a good song too. They didn't have that then, but overall, like, I'm just not a huge Falling in Reverse fan. They were fine. I have nothing against them. But Plush, as always, amazing. We love Plush. And Disturbed were great. I had no notes on their show. It was really fun. They had a lot of cool stuff going on stage in the back and stuff like that. But they were really good. I really enjoyed their stuff too. Yeah. Next up is The Offspring. I saw them in 2024. They were with Straight Jacket, who I still listen to fairly often. I love Straight Jacket at this point. Save Ferris, they're okay. They were a lot of fun to watch. And The Urge, which I didn't care for personally, but again, I have nothing against them. Felt like a weird mix of stuff, but, you know, doesn't matter. Offspring were great. They played their biggest hits, obviously. I had a lot of fun there. I know my brother was sick, so he was in the show, but he was, like, sick with a cold, and so he was in the back, and his friend was with him in the back, so I was kind of by myself. But it was still a lot of fun. I still really enjoyed it. You know, I have no notes on that. Yeah. Next up is Hinder. I saw them in 2024. They did not have an opener. It's not the OG singer, so it wasn't quite the same, but it was still really fun. I did get a guitar pick, and I did get to sing into the microphone for the song Get Stoned, which was really cool. The lead singer's pants were very tight. I do know that. They were very tight. And they did not play the song Striptease, which is kind of what I wanted to hear. That's one of my favorites. But I don't hold that against them for not doing it. So, you know, it is what it is. Next is Plush and Pop Evil. This is the first time I'd seen Plush, and I kind of me and my brother both fell in love with them. They're awesome. Pop Evil was okay. I don't remember a lot from their show necessarily because I was still buzzing off of Plush, and I was kind of half deaf because we were right by a speaker in the front for Plush. But they were good. It just is what it is. It was a free concert in my area, so it was really fun to go to for free and have fun at. What? Next up is Breaking Benjamin. They were good. A lot of fun. I liked at one point in the show during a break, they put on there this free shit and would shoot out t-shirts and stuff. We were way too far in the back for a t-shirt, but it was still fun. They had Daughtry as their opener. They were okay. I don't have anything against them. They're not like my favorite or anything, but they're not bad. And then they had Catch Your Breath, which I actually do like Catch Your Breath a lot now. I've listened to them quite a few times. I really enjoy them. I think they're a lot of fun to listen to and all that fun stuff. Next up is Stained and Seether on the Tailgate Tour. I knew one song by Stained and like 2 songs by Seether. They were both good. I think Seether was really, really good to watch. I think they had the more energy of the two, personally. We also saw Tim Montana was an opener, and we met him after the show, after his set, which was cool. We had a photo with him. He was very nice. And then Saint Asonia, which their lead singer is Adam Gautier. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm sorry. Who is the original lead singer from 3 Days Grace. And he did do a couple 3 Days Grace song. I don't remember what the one of them was, but he did do I Hate Everything About You, and I did know that one, and that was kind of banging. They sounded great. All of it was fun and good, just not as memorable as others. Next up is Marilyn Manson and Rob Zombie. This would be the first time I'd seen both of them. It was in 2019, and Rob Zombie was great. He did about the same as he did with Alice Cooper, but Manson, I love Manson, and that's why I went. And I have to say, he wasn't bad, but you could tell he wasn't fully there, in regards to being drunk and or high. His voice didn't sound as great looking back at it. At the time I thought it was amazing, but looking back at it and hearing little bit snippets of videos that I have, he really didn't sound great, and he wasn't doing great. However, he did make a joke, because we were in South Dakota, about loving South Dakota because its initials are SD, which is one away from STD, and that stuck with me. But also a memorable thing about this concert is my dad was outside waiting for us. Their opener was Palais Royale, by the way. This is the first time I'd seen Palais, and they were great. I couldn't hear them very well over the instruments. Like, I couldn't hear Remington's voice very well, but it was still fine. But the other memorable thing is my dad was waiting outside, and he saw somebody get arrested, and he picked up a pair of broken sunglasses, which now reside in my friend's house because I gave it to them as a gift to remember each other when we graduated high school. I don't talk to her anymore. And lastly, we have Diamante and Lit. Just not very memorable on Lit's side. They were okay. I mean, they played, God, I can't even think of what their song is now. Fuck. Anyway, they played that one. But they didn't play The Life That I Got, which is one that I really wanted to hear from them. I really like that song. But, My Own Worst Enemy, that's what I'm thinking of. I'm sorry, it's late. Diamante was really, really good live. Me and my brother each got a picture with her after the show as well, which was really cool. But it just wasn't the most memorable thing, in all honesty. So yeah. That's my concert list. What do you guys think? Have you been to these concerts? Have you seen any of these bands? What are your thoughts on them? Tell me about your concert experiences. I love learning about concerts. Obviously, as I got towards the end, it was kind of the same old, not overly memorable things. But yeah. If I could see any artist live that's dead now, I would say I'd see David Bowie or Meatloaf. They're two of my absolute favorites, and they're both dead. But I know that has nothing to do with the actual concerts, but like, what would that be? Like, what if you could see any musician play live who is dead now? Who would it be? Like I said, mine would either be Meatloaf or David Bowie, but tell me what yours is. I love looking at different music and listening to different music, and hopefully I get to a point where I make more videos about things that I like. I've teased some in the past that have never come to fruition, so maybe those ones will come to fruition at some point. I don't know. But yeah, I hope you guys are doing awesome. I hope you are having a phenomenal day, night, evening, afternoon, early morning, whatever time of day it is for you. I hope it's great, and it remains great. Remember to be nice to people. Don't spread hate, spread kindness. It's easier said than done some days, but just try to remember to do it. And just have fun and go to concerts. I know ticket prices are ridiculous and we're in a bad time in the economy, but try. Yes. Yeah, I hope you guys are awesome, doing great, everything else, and I will see you next time. So, bye.